How's it going, everyone, and hope you're doing well. Welcome to this boot review and comparison video between the two speed boots, the new speed boots that have come out from Adidas and Puma. So on the left we have the Adidas F50. These are in the soft ground elite editions. So of course the newest colorway of the new speed boots that Adidas have brought back. And then on our right we have the Puma Ultra 5 Carbons. These are the newest speed boots that Puma have brought out from the previous editions of last year's Ultra Ultimates. These ones are going to be the new Puma speed boots, so we look forward to doing many more unboxings and reviews if there's been some updates in the future and the new colorways for these really nice speed boots that Puma have brought out. So we're just going to be comparing these two and helping you decide which one is for you. As you know, with the new speed boots that have just come out in the past month, very hard to choose from out of these two. Both really nice boots, and we find that the difference between these two boots is just down to the feet types and the sizing of how the boots is designed for. So it's going to help you out to decide which one is much more for you in terms of these two speed boots. So the first thing is, if we go straight into the comparison, would be the sizing between these two speed boots. As said, we find that these two boots are fairly similar in terms of the material and feel for the ball. It just comes down to the sizing in terms of the design and ergonomics of these speed boots. So to start off with the F50s Elites, these speed boots are actually much more of a similar design to the previous generations, similar to the previous editions that Adidas have brought out, the Adidas X Speed Flow. So if you had a pair of those, you'll know what we mean. But if you're watching this for the first time, we'll just briefly go through that these boots are, of course, designed for narrow to normal feet types. However, we do feel like wide feet players can wear this as well because of the laces system here on the speed boot laces area, and that is added a compression fit. So it's very nice and very comfortable once you put your feet into the boots itself. We feel like these are actually a bit more higher up than, let's say, the previous editions of the Crazy Fast in terms of the height of the boots, and a bit more wider as well compared to last year's editions of the Crazy Fast. So we find it much more easier for people to put their feet into the boots itself, which is why we feel like it can also accommodate wide feet. You just have to find out your right sizing for them, which is usually just going true to size or half size up from your usual Adidas footwear sizing. And for wide feet, that should fit you really nicely. Again, for very wide feet, we say you can try them on, but we don't recommend going for these as it's just too wide in terms of the midfoot area. After doing up the laces, it's just going to be too tight for you. Better to go for a different pair of the Adidas, let's say the Predators or Copas. But for these speed boots, Adidas F50 Elites definitely can fit wide feet players. And this is the difference between this one and then the Puma Ultra 5 Carbons. These ones, we feel like, as you can see with the design, is much more slim, like much more narrow in the toe box area and also the midfoot. Toe box area is fairly similar to the F50, as you can see. Maybe the F50 is a little bit wider in terms of the toe box section, but maybe just by a little, fairly similar. It's more of the midfoot here. As you can see, it's much more slim-like design for narrow to normal feet types. Let me just show the design a bit more on the side angles compared to the F50 Elites. Very stretchy, very easy to put your feet into the boots with these. These ones are much more narrow-minded for narrow feet types. Again, we recommend these for narrow to normal feet type, whether you go true to size or half size down. Do watch our full reviews on our channel for if you're going to go for these ones in terms of finding the right sizing. But yeah, for wide feet and very wide feet, you can try on different sizing, but it's probably better to go for the Adidas F50s or another Puma, a brand like the Puma Futures, which is much more accommodating for wide and very wide feet types. Just these would be the materials used on the upper between these two boots. To us, it's fairly similar between the two, not much differences, just a difference of naming, as they're both synthetic-like material, adding kind of enhanced materials or touches in terms of feel for the ball and first touch to help you with your control. So Adidas F50 have called it Fiber Touch, and then with the Puma Ultra 5, I believe it's still the PWR tape, yeah, PWR tape used for that kind of material, and also they've got the grip control for a nice feel for the ball and touch. And then you've got your movement in terms of F50 with their sprint web here on the side, so it just helps with like movement and feel for the ball. Again, I feel like all these extra names and stuff that they've added, it's just texture to the boot. Control and feel for the ball is much more down to your own practice, as we always say. However, it is a nice small touch that Adidas and Puma have included in terms of these material. It definitely adds that kind of extra detail in terms of when it's, let's say, in wet conditions or rainy weather and the ball's much more faster, then it does help out with a bit of touch and control in terms of performance. So yeah, Puma have continued on with the PWR tape here. Not sure where they have included it in. Maybe it's just in the midsection here like the Futures. Yeah, it is, yep. So you've got the Ultra one here with the tape in the middle. But yeah, fairly nice and simple design from Puma, much more about control on the side aspects, and then it's just a narrow design for speed, fast pace, and then as you can see with the sole plate, very different, very new carbon sole plate as well. So very nice in terms of the lightweight boots and movement designed for a speed boot. And F50 again, it's got all the similar designs, just a bit more wide as we said already, but sole plate stays fair. The sole plate is exactly the same, just with the SG versions. So you can also get the FG, AG versions for if you're playing on firm ground and artificial grass. But again, they've got the sprint web, as we said, and fiber touch for help and control. But in terms of the materials and in terms of the materials on the upper, both boots are fairly similar, so there's no difference between the two. The next thing is the weight between the two boots. So of course the soft ground is of the F50s are weighing around 231 to 232 grams. But as you can see with our SG versions that we have, it's going to be around 201 to 202 grams, which is 20 grams roughly, or 19 grams lighter than the Puma Ultra 5 carbons. So 20 grams is, you know, a big difference in terms of weight when it comes down to speed boots. So if you're looking for a lighter boot, then go for the Adidas F50s. If you're looking for a bit more weight with the boots to offer a bit more protection, then go for the Puma 5 Ultra carbons. But in terms of speed boot, you want a boot that's lighter, so F50 would win in this case. Now the final things is in terms of pricing between the two, you're looking at around 220, 230 euros or pounds for the F50s, and for the Puma Ultra 5 carbons, these are about £10 or euros cheaper, from about 220, 210 euros or pounds. So not much too difference between the two elite boots. The other thing would be if you're wearing these boots on multi-different surfaces like firm ground and artificial pitches like 3G, 4G, I would recommend going for the F50s instead, because the FG versions of these are much more accommodating for the AG pitches as well, as they've got some much more less aggressive stud plates in the sides of the boots and also in the middle for a bit of grip and stability in terms of movement and reducing chance of injuries. These ones are much targeted for firm ground pitches, as you can see here. They probably will bring out AG sole plate for these soon with the Ultras. As you can see, they've only got 3 stud plates here, so very, very aggressive. No circle studs, plastic studs in the middle anywhere. All of it is just aggressive stud patterns, so much more targeted for firm ground pitches, real grass pitches. You can try these on artificial grass, but do get used to them first by like practicing maybe a couple of weeks, training on yourself or with friends before you take them on to a match or team training. But in terms of our end, we wouldn't recommend wearing these for artificial grass. So if you're going to play on just real grass pitches, then you can go for these Pumas. But if you're going to be playing on many different surfaces, go for the F50s. Much more safer bet in terms of reducing chance of injuries or hurting yourself. But again, it comes down to yourself. If you're happy to wear these on artificial grass, then that's your own personal preference. But thanks again for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave it a like and to subscribe to our channel. And comment down below which boots you would go for or which one you ended up buying and what you found out about them, as it helps out people that are watching this now make a decision to see which one they'll go for. And we'll see you next time for another review and unboxing or comparison video in the near future. All the very best and take care.